Now, they're often seen as the troublemakers on the market, but Viceroy is coming knocking again, this time shaking a local property fund. And KPMG has appointed a new CEO who's tasked with restoring credibility at the embattled firm. Mateo Karipe joins us to discuss this story. So Viceroy, back, what's it after this time?
It's never good when you hear the word Viceroy, especially lately for JSE companies. And this time around, it was Nappy Rockcastle, who's a commercial property developer and investor, also listed on the JSE as well as in Amsterdam. Well, Viceroy has come knocking this time around and saying these guys are actually inflating their profits that they're getting in Romania and obviously misleading the market into investing into this particular company. Of course, we do have to say Viceroy is a short seller, so they make money from dropping the shares of other companies. But there's a lot of things they've gotten right. If you do remember the crash that came from Steinhoff last year, saying they were overstating a lot of things before their listings, and also their business model was also based on a lot of debt, that they were right about. And we're seeing that particular investigation coming through from PwC in terms of Steinhoff. They also came for KPMG, which also lost a lot of share value when Viceroy basically called them a loan shark, and that their business model is really something to look at for the Reserve Bank. Of course, the Reserve Bank at the time defending that particular business model and saying that KPMG is liquefied properly for the market and they're happy with the way they're operating. But in terms of this particular fund, they've really hit the company quite a bit. The share price was down 14% today, and also took with it some of the other property stocks on the market, which fell by 14% as well. So there is a lot of talk around why a lot of JSE companies are raising a lot of interest with short sellers. We're seeing a lot of, shady dealings that these short sellers are, speculating firstly, and some that they've also gotten right as well. So the JSE is really tasked at looking at some of these companies and how they're operating, because South Africa is becoming a market where a lot of the companies are getting looked at for this particular behavior.
And then let's move on to KPMG, trying very hard to restore confidence and credibility. A new CEO, how's that going to turn out?
It seems like there is like a revolving door in terms of that company. But of course, it is a tough task. It lost a lot of credibility, firstly with that SARS rogue report and VBS Mutual Bank, and also dealing with the Gupta family as well. So it's a company that has lost its auditing credentials and has also lost government as a client mainly. And that's seen a lot of job losses come through from the company. So they're still trying to get a CEO that can really stamp the authority and come in and prove themselves. And of course, Ntlamu Dlomu, who was there for about close to a year, has now been sent off to international shores and to start a new career there. But she'll be succeeded by Ignatius Sihule, who has quite a lot of neck within the industry, and also is not a newcomer to the industry. He was with SAICA for good 9 years, and with a proper experience as well. Of course, SAICA is one of those bodies that's supposed to keep the industry in check. And of course, this particular industry has not been in check. We've seen a lot of shoddy work coming through from auditors. We've seen with VBS Mutual Bank, which is now being wound down, and KPMG was involved there. Deloitte signing off, shoddy numbers from Steinhoff as well. And we've seen a lot of auditing work that has not really gone well for the industry. So what KPMG is basically looking for is the credibility to come through for the company, and they think they've got the right man.
Well, if SAICA failed to actually do its oversight role properly, how is he going to change things around at KPMG, especially since now he has so many people working under him and could possibly do whatever they want?
Definitely, his role now would be to closely look at some of the projects that they do take on, because a lot of things they've dropped the ball on, and it's coming from every angle if you want to look at it in terms of KPMG. I mean, when you hear the word KPMG, soon after on that sentence, you'll hear corruption. And, it seems like there's been a change in culture at the company. In fact, Ignatius Sihule was there doing his articles before at KPMG before he joined Deloitte, and he would be a man that would understand the previous culture that they were so proud of, and everyone wanted to have them as the service providers in terms of auditing their numbers. But this time around, he has to come in and, in fact, maybe even remind them of that culture to say, this is where we're looking to go. And he said himself in a statement from KPMG that he's looking to make it a company where people still want to work again. You will imagine that the industry might be trying to stay far away from the word KPMG, and some people probably not even putting it as references of where they've worked worked before because of such shoddy and corrupt work that has come through from the auditing company.
It's going to be interesting to watch that one. Thanks so much for that. Appreciate it. Mateo Quaripe.